welcome. If this is the first time we've met, then I'm Emma and I run a branding company called FreshSage, basically geared to help you create an online brand experience. And last night something happened that got me thinking. Our president gave a State of the Nation address around the whole coronavirus. And he's putting a whole lot of measures in place, and one of the key measures that he's putting in place is to close schools from Wednesday all the way through to after Easter. Now, being in the online world, I've gotten used to working through school holidays, and we've pretty much got a routine down pat. But I'm very mindful that many of you haven't had that experience before or are struggling to figure out what to do with your kiddo during the school breather. So I thought I would tap into another online entrepreneur that I know quite well, having built her brand. But Frankie is, not only does she run Additive Free Kids, her company, but she also is very experienced in how to juggle kids and work because she has 5 children. So Frankie, welcome. So Frankie, while I know your schools aren't closing as yet, I know that you have a wealth of knowledge in terms of how to manage kiddos, how to get work done whilst managing kiddos, and also you've also done a little bit of traveling and how to entertain, feed, and all those good things with kiddos on the road. So let's maybe kick off with, what would you say is a key way to cope when you've now suddenly found out you have to work from home and you're worried about how to deal with your children? And I know your kids also range from quite young to quite old, so I wonder if we should start with the littlies.
Hey Em, great to chat with you. Yes, I have had some experience with having kids at home and needing to work at the same time as well. And I have had to adapt and change what I do over the years, especially as the kids have grown and changed. So whilst they have been little, what I have found that has worked best for me, and obviously everyone's going to be different, but I will start by saying that the very first thing is that you need to adjust expectations, that you may not get the same amount of work done that you would ordinarily do in the required time if you have children around. That's just a reality. So having said that, what I have found that works well for me is to actually start my workday early on a school holidays or a school break, and get a few hours done before the kids are roaming around and, wanting or needing attention. They can normally sort out their own breakfasts and those types of things. So I will have got a few hours out of the way and tackle my most important tasks for the day. And that sets me up for the day, feeling comfortable that even if I don't get anything else done, I've tackled the most critical items for that day. Then normally we would spend, most of the day together. Obviously out of quarantine, we would be going out and about and, to beaches, parks, whatever you like, or visiting friends. That's going to be a bit different in this scenario, but similar thing, I'd be dedicating time to spending time with them. It might be playing, might be outdoors, might be gardening, whatever it is, but it's time that we're spending together, and obviously eating together and those types of things. Then in the afternoon, what I have found is the kids normally like some down, and the downtime will look different for the kids at different ages, but when the kids were very little, they might watch a movie. As they've got older, they might do something on an iPad. So while they're having that downtime, then I'm hopping on to my computer and doing a bit more work. And so, it's not the same amount of work that I would get done on, when they're at school, but it's enough to keep business ticking over and, making sure that the critical tasks have been done. At the same time, keeping everybody happy, which is really important. They obviously need your attention, love and time, and that's really important to do. But at the same time, you've got bills to pay and jobs to do, so I found that's what's worked best for me at this point in time.
Frankie, I love those tips, yes. I think that it's very clever to make use of that morning time to get your real high priority items done and out. So for me, it would be going in and with quite a focused approach, knowing what are the 1, 2 or 3 critical tasks I really want to get done today that are, like you were saying, going to be the lifeblood of the business or are really high importance and high urgency. And tackling those 3 things first. I like the fact that you're using the time when kids are busy with their breakfast goodies and stuff to really kick that out. And then I love the fact that you're talking about planning some fun events into it. I think that's great. I find that for me, having, in terms of managing your own expectations, it also helps to manage your kids' expectations as well. So I find that, when holiday starts, I sit down with my boy and we have a conversation around the fact that mom does need to work, but that mom will work in chunks, and then we will plan some fun things in between as well. And that way, when he knows that we're going to do this fun thing today, then he can sort of build up and, look forward to it, knowing that it is coming and that he actually just needs to give mom the space to do what she needs to do so that we can then go and do the fun thing together. Whether that fun thing is a game of cards or whether that it's an outing, it just gives him something to look forward to in the mix. And often it could be as simple as a game of cards where you're just interacting with him for a bit and then he's happy to go on and do his own thing. Or in your case, I'm not sure if that's the similar reality when you've got 5.
Yes, definitely similar reality with 5. We also do the same, similar, it could be a simple game of cards. The boys love playing cards and they just, after a little bit of attention, they're more than happy. And yes, I normally do have a conversation on the lead up to school holidays talking about that we're going to go back to this way of working. So yeah, definitely the same. I will say though that I am now starting to see the fruits of having 5. And the last few school holidays, what I've witnessed is that they are more than happy to all go out and play a game of cricket or something similar together. And because there's 5 of them, we don't need to organise any, other playmates to come over or those types of things. But obviously, if you've got less number of children, you would. And they're more than happy to play for hours on end. And when they're happy doing that, then that's also an opportunity for me to get some other stuff done around the house or popping onto the computer and getting another few tasks accomplished. Another strategy that has worked well with other working mums has been to actually look after each other's children for a period of, a few hours or whatever. So then that mum can get some work done and then it's reciprocated and the other mum can get some work done next time. So it's just another way of, everyone's different depending on their work scenarios or depending on their kids or those types of things. Just having that flexibility and the option to be able to share that care with others in the community works really well. And obviously, we're in different times right now with Corona, so everyone will feel differently about that at this point in time. But generally speaking, working from home on a normal school holiday or break, that's worked well for us.
I love how the 5 of them end up playing together and they all just, enjoy the time together. Interestingly, as a mom of 1, I have the opposite problem where he gets bored. And one of the ways that I've combated the "I'm so bored" comment, because I'm sure many moms have heard that line, is the first time it happened. My son and I sat down and I got him to write out a list of things that he could do with the disclaimer that it was on his own. And when he was young, we started with 10-minute stints. And he would write out a list. Now, obviously, on that list needed to be some things that were fun for him, aka iPad time. But I wanted a mix of things on the list. So the rule for the list would be that there were some fun things that he could do, like his iPad and TV time. But there also needed to be some fun things that he did outdoors on his own, like riding his bicycle or kicking a soccer ball or playing with his rugby ball. And then there also needed to be some educational fun things. So it could have been playing a game, building a puzzle. Depending on the age, it would shift. So that was the list, and each item needed to be 10 to 15, 20 minutes when he was very, very young. Now we go sort of more 20 to 30 minutes. And whether he's then reading or iPad or playing outside, he gets a balance in his day if he covers all of those things. And for me, having that 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute stint gave me an opportunity to really get some focused work done in that time. I love the idea of sharing the workload amongst mums, where you organize play dates, and the one has the one babe on the one day and the other day. I agree that with the corona going around, if like right now my son has flu, so he is not going to be going on play dates. So that's why coming up with things he can do on his own that gives me some work time just really helps me plan my day and helps me fit in a few extra bits into the day. So now a question that I have for you, Frankie, is with your 5, whilst it's awesome that they're playing most of the time, having great time together, how do you deal with the fact that, things go wrong, fights happen, things get pear-shaped? Do you find that as they're getting older, there's less need to sort of intervene in that? Because that can also really break the workflow. Or do you say, okay, you guys go play outside for the next 30 minutes and I don't want to hear unless anything's broken? What's your strategy? Help moms out.
It definitely can break the workflow, and of course that definitely does happen. As the boys are getting older, I am seeing a shift, and that's happening less often, especially as the older two are often about and exploring out of the house with their mates and the like. But in the years gone by, and even with the younger 3, often what I'll do is I will, when fights break out or those types of things, that will be an opportunity to have time on their own. They might go into their room, or they might go into another room or another one outside, and it's time for each of them to do some quiet time. So whether that's reading a book or kicking a ball or shooting some hoops or whatever it is, each of them will have some time on their own. So definitely need to mix it up sometimes as well.
So Frankie, considering food is your area of expertise, perhaps you can also just share a tip or two around things that mums can do just to save some time. Because we know that like making food can take a large amount of time out of a mom's day. So what are some of the tips that you could share with the moms out there just to lighten the load?
So normally heading into school holidays, I'll make sure that I have a fully stocked pantry and fridge and freezer. So I'm minimising the amount of times I need to go out and get food. With 5, that is. Obviously we do have home delivery. And obviously the times that we're in at the moment, things are going to be hard to get, but I think a lot of people have stocked up already on their essentials. Another tip that I have is that I normally have a few things already pre-prepared in the freezer before school holiday hits. So then, if we're busy out and about one day, I don't have to stress that I have to prepare or cook something. I can pull something out from the freezer ready to go. Other tips are I make sure that when I do cook, I'm making it worth my while I'm in the kitchen, and I'm double, triple, or even quadruple batching for our family, given it's so large. So I'm making my time count, and we'll be having that whatever I've cooked for a meal a lunch, and maybe even another leftover within that week. It could also apply with whatever we're baking, and we do tend to do more baking on the school holidays. We've got more time, so definitely recommend doing some of that if people are in quarantine and teaching kids some of those skills. And again, we'll double, triple batch them, and maybe put some in the freezer if we get a chance to, but often not. So just some of those, when I'm in the kitchen, I'm making my time count. When the kitchen's already dirty, I'm doing multiple things in the kitchen at the same time. Another tip that I actually just received yesterday from a family member for school holidays, which I'm planning on trying out this next break, is that I find that the kids tend to eat more on school holidays. Or they're always telling you you're hungry more. So the tip that I received from the family member was that prepare the food as you would if the kids were going to school at the beginning of the day, and you tell the kids that's what they've got for the day, and it's already pre-prepared in the morning. And I just think that will save me a lot of time also during the school break. I have my processes in place already, for school lunches. I think it's a really great idea to continue that. But, everyone's different. So I'll give that a go this break and see how we go.
I really love that last tip. What a great way to help keep things in schedule and not have constant interruptions for things like, I'm hungry. Good one. And batch cooking has really saved my life, and it's made such a difference to how I operate as well. And just for those of you, if this is the first time that you've heard the idea of batch cooking and just want a practical example of how I use it, I know in Frankie, in your space with the large family to feed, that you don't really get to sort of save and keep for the next day or the day after. But just in terms of what I do that might help some other moms is my first hack is around mince. So you cook up a big pot of bolognese mince, and then I will do spaghetti bolognese for dinner that night, and then I'll keep 2 separate portions in the freezer, which could either become wraps or mince and rice, or mince on, the options are endless, on toast or pizzas or anything. So, that way you're shifting up one meal across a variety of days, because I often find the making of meat type meals takes the longest. The other one I do is chicken. So I'll do some roast chicken pieces, and then in the middle I'll do a whole lot of chicken breasts on the bone. And those chicken breasts on the bone aren't eaten for dinner that night. I'll take those chicken breasts and slice them up or cube or shred them. And then I'll pop those in the freezer. And then if I need to make a chicken pasta or a chicken wrap or a chicken salad, I've got the chicken ready to rock and roll. I just need to defrost it. And that has been a massive time saver in my world.
Thanks for having me, Emma. Great chatting with you.
Awesome. Frankie, thank you so much for sharing your tips with us. I think that, as moms are transitioning into this, how do I deal with my kids being home and still needing to get work done? I know that the tips that you've shared today are really valuable. So hopefully it's helped you out there. And if you're curious about what Frankie does, her business Additive Free Kids, you can find on the website www.additivefreekids.com.au. She has a whole bunch of useful resources there for you, from how to get started in additive free living all the way through to how to remove some of those harmful additives that are snuck away, so hidden in our kids' diet, it's not even funny. So have a look at her stuff and get some insights from her. And if you're busy shifting into the online entrepreneurial space and you're needing a little bit of help, I've just set up a resource library that I think would be super helpful for you. So things that are in there at the moment are how to find your ideal tribe, ways that you can attract them, and how you can boost your lead gen. So that's what's in there at the moment, but things will be added as we go. So that you will find on my website, www.freshsage.co.za.